Well, hey, everybody. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. Busy, but I'm doing great.
All right. Well, here I am. I'm in beautiful Montana. Just showing you a photo of the beautiful mountains in the background. I don't know if everybody can see them. I'll kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Can you see that? So, Andrea, that's the beauty of what I'm doing with my sizzle business is I've chosen to take it on the road. I've converted my truck into my office, and this is my virtual anti-aging business.
There you go.
So I love it. I love it. How are you doing out there? I hear you have a busy day.
I do have a busy day. My granddaughter is graduating from college. She's going to be an RN. She's moving to Tennessee tomorrow. She's already got a job.
She's already got a job.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good for her. Good for her. And nurses are so essential because, where doctors, they know the doctor part, but the nurses are kind of like the hands of the doctors in a lot of cases.
Right.
They're the hands, they're the mouth, they're the ones that are really doing a lot of the heavy work,
That's right. They work hard too.
Yeah. So good. Well, I hope that is a lot of fun for everybody and you get to see your family and really enjoy the day.
Yeah, me too.
And you had a happy Easter, of course.
Yes, I did.
All right. A lady in West Fargo, she was trying to miss running over a Easter rabbit on Sunday morning, and she ran into a parked car.
Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah, you always go for the animal.
I'm thinking the animal would dodge you. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Most cases, they're pretty quick. But all right, well, let's get back on the subject of what we want to be talking about. I kind of get diverted sometimes. I get out on the road.
Like
I have a lot of fun.
You go on a rabbit trail.
I got to spend Easter with my son out in Spokane, and that was a lot of fun in itself. And yeah, so now I'm on my way back to Fargo. It's a 2-day drive for me from here to Fargo. I could do it if I drove straight through for 15 or 16 hours, but
that's hard.
Yeah. And there's it's not like I have an appointment tomorrow that I have to be back in Fargo for. So
right.
The dog's in the back.
Enjoy the mountains.
My dog's in the back seat.
Yeah. Chewy's back there. Hey, Chewy.
Yeah.
He's sleeping.
He just, I stopped and had a breakfast meeting this morning, and I'm sharing information about CBD and sharing information about fucoidan, and so I bought Chewy breakfast. He got bacons and eggs with cheese and hash browns and pancakes even.
Yummy.
He eats pretty good for a dog.
I'd say.
Right. So as we're discussing things and talking about health, you and I were always on the phone talking about different things. CBD is really, it's one of those products that people have a lot of questions on. And so I thought, this morning, maybe you could, not you throw questions at me, but maybe we can get some back and forth, about that going. Did you know, Tom was telling me this when I was out there last week, that if you take the CBD and you put it under your tongue, it absorbs through the mucosal membrane, right?
Uh-huh.
And it goes into your system really quickly, and it acts really, really fast. But did you know that if you swallow it, it actually has a longer lasting effect?
No, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
It's really good to know, right? Because if I wake up in the morning and I kind of feel achy and I want to feel good within a short period of time, I'm going to put it under my tongue.
Right.
If I feel like I wake up and I feel pretty good and I want to have long-lasting effect, or let's say I do it before I go to bed tonight and I want to have it so that I sleep good, then I'm gonna swallow it versus putting it under my tongue.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does make sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I was just talking with my cousin's son yesterday, who is a veteran, and I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Good." I said, "Are you taking CBD oil for PSTD?" And he said, "Yeah, he was, because the VA here dispenses it to them. But I think what they're giving them is they're giving them vapes. They're not giving them oil."
right.
You know, so I said, "Why don't you just do the CBD oil? You get the same benefits, you know, because it does help with PTSD and anxiety and depression and
Right.
all of that."
I wonder if too at the VA, are they using the drug?
Oh, you mean the synthetic?
Well, not synthetic, but the drug form of CBD.
Yeah,
The
it's
one
got THC
considered a drug.
Yeah, it's got THC in it.
Okay. So the drug form, that actually, I was talking to Tom about this. The drug form of CBD, it actually comes from marijuana. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Versus ours comes from hemp.
Right.
And so could you explain, I know you know about this, what's the difference between you know, the marijuana version and the hemp version?
Well, I just saw an article the other day and they were trying to say that it was the same plant, but it's not the same plant. It's two different plants. And marijuana has a chemical compound in it that they've acronymed THC. It stands for something very long. And that is the psychoactive part of marijuana that causes people to be what they call high, you know. So that's different than oil or product from hemp, because hemp has very minute amounts of THC in it compared to marijuana.
So it would be like a ditchweed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Back when you were in high school.
It grows like crazy. I mean, it's a renewable resource that we could get like 2,500 things made out of, but you know, so it's a great renewable resource. But you know, it's just a version of getting cannabinoids in your system that doesn't have such a psychoactive effect on you.
Right, right. And so we have a little bit of THC in our product, like what, 0.3%?
Less than 0.3%, yes, to be government approved.
Less than 0.3%. And so the question some people have had, my brother had this question, will it show up on a drug test?
Well, we can't guarantee that it won't, because you also, because you do have that little bit in there. You know, what Sizzle recommends is that you would tell your employer that you're taking a hemp CBD oil that has the government approved THC in it, so that they would understand that if you did do a random drug test and you were a truck driver or a nurse or somebody who had to have those types of tests done to prove safety, that they would be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in the case of a federal drug test, if it failed the drug test, chances are they don't care if it came from hemp or if it came from marijuana. If you failed, you failed. So CBD, it doesn't get you high, but THC does, and there's 0.0 or 0.3%. So THC is what they call fat soluble, right?
Yeah, I think you said it was.
So what happens with it, from the way I understand it, is that if you take and you've never done you know, the CBD, and you go get drug tested today after your very first dose, it's not going to show up. But if you're doing a milliliter a day, if you're doing a dose a day for the next 30 days, there's going to be enough THC that you're actually going to fail the drug test. And that's why we tell people it's probably going to show up.
Right. So if you There's a solution to that too. If you work for yourself, you don't have to do a drug test.
That's right. You don't drug test yourself every day?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, that's true. When you work for yourself and that, and I definitely, now that I know more about CBD, these states that are trying to pass medical marijuana laws, my question to them is, why would you pass a medical marijuana law if you can get everything that you want to get from a CBD product that doesn't have the get high THC part?
I agree totally. And that's what I stated to my cousin yesterday. Why wouldn't you just use CBD oil from hemp?
Right. And so the answer, what would you think? And I know you and I both we're conspiracy thinkers, right?
Yeah, we are. I am anyway.
And so my main thinking is that the reason that they want to have medical marijuana is because somebody's going to make some money.
Mm-hmm. Well, they do anyway. You posted that thing about you have to pay so much money to have the card, to get approved to have the card, and then you have to renew it all the time. And I think here in Michigan, people pay $300 a year to have the medical card renewed.
$300 a year just to have it renewed.
Yeah.
And then they have to go see a doctor to get prescribed the card in the first place?
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. I don't know, because I don't have one. So they either have to go through the state or through a doctor.
Right. And then they have to buy the marijuana from a dispensary who just happens to be part of like one or two or three families that get to control that market.
Right. And I think I talked to a woman a couple of years ago, and she was saying that I think she was spending $150 to $200 a month.
Wow.
What it was costing her.
Yeah, I don't know why states, like I said, like North Dakota right now, we're trying to pass. Well, we did pass the medical marijuana law, but now the good old boys are trying to figure out how to make money off of it.
Right. They're trying to come up with a synthetic marijuana plant.
And if any of you are watching the call, if you're part of the Good Old Boy Network in North Dakota, I'm not trying to make you sound bad. You're just trying to make money. We understand.
Are you going to be politically correct today?
Right? I'm so non-politically correct. Sometimes I have to correct myself.
Right.
I don't want to feel like the bad guy all the time.
Right.
Right. What would be the IP police?
Yeah. I call them the FBK police. I have the FBK police after me all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to CBD oil. We've covered before on calls, but maybe somebody missed that call, that you have an endocannabinoid system. They discovered it back in the late 1980s or early 90s, and yet I had health classes then, I had A&P classes then. Nobody said, hey, guess what we just discovered? Nobody even talked about it. So
nobody even talked about it. They never came out and screamed that, hey, we found this.
No, it was probably like a flash in the scientific journals, and that was it. Because they have suppressed this information for a long time. And we know who they are. But
who are they?
So anyway, we have this, and last time I checked, only 13% of medical schools even bring the subject up that you have an endocannabinoid system. And yet it's a very important system in your body, because what happens is if you start to get off balance in your body, you get a little sickness coming in, a little degeneration, your body recognizes that. And it has receptors all over the body for different areas. Cannabinoids fill those receptors and bring you back into homeostasis. So it's like a balancing effect in your body. It brings you back to where you should be normally.
What's when you talk about homeostasis, you know, for people who may not have heard that word, I'm sure a lot of people have, but just tell people, what is homeostasis?
Yeah, they may have not heard that since they were taking 7th grade science, but it's like when the body is perfectly balanced and it's optimized for health.
When the body's in balance. So you're saying that the body wants to be in balance all the time, right?
Oh yeah, it's self-correcting if we give it the right stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you say give it the right stuff, then you're not talking about, oh, I need to be taking another a Tagamet pill or another Synthroid or anything like that.
No, I'm talking about natural substances that our body requires for health.
Yeah.
It could come from your plants. It could come from, you know, things like that. All of our products are plant-based and extracts of plant-based products. So they're all natural, you know,
yeah.
So,
you know, I hear people, let's stay on the subject of the, you know, of the CBD. You know, we hear people talking about different things like isolates and broad spectrum and full spectrum. You know, what's the difference in those?
Well, let me ask you that because I'm not clear on that. I was actually going to ask that question. When we say ours is a full spectrum extract, what does that mean compared to the other?
Well, we know that hemp has, what is it, like 380 different ingredients, extracts that they've discovered already. Right? Well over 300. I think it's like 380 is the number that I read. So if there's 380 different extracts that have certain kinds of medicinal or health-related purposes, right? And they all work together. This one makes that one work better. That one makes this one work better. So they all work together. Why wouldn't you want to have them all in one product, right?
Right, because the synergy would be increased.
Right. So that's a full spectrum when you include all of them. So it's got the full spectrum of all the things, and you get this entourage effect is what it's being called.
Okay.
The entourage effect. So a broad spectrum, what they're doing is they're isolating out certain things that they want to take out, and they take those out for whatever reason, and now it's a broad spectrum.
Okay, so it's missing some ingredients.
It's missing some of the ingredients, so chances are it's going to be better than an isolate. And what an isolate is that they take and they extract just the CBD.
Okay.
So that's the difference between the three. And so if you're getting just CBD, it's not getting the CBG that Andrea and I talked about on previous calls. You're not getting the terpenes. You're not getting any THC. All those other cannabinoids that work together to make it work. You're not getting those. So an isolate probably isn't as good, right?
I would say no. It wouldn't be as good.
We're not going to say it's not going to be as good for every single person, because some people, they might need just CBD. They might need just CBD. They might need just THC or whatever. Because THC itself, I mean, there's medicinal purposes to THC as well, right?
Right.
And so there's certain purposes for each one. So an isolate might be good for some people because, of course, if we say isolates aren't good at all, we're going to have some listener that's going to say, oh, that's what I take and it works perfectly for me. It might work perfectly for some people.
Yep.
But like I looked at, I was talking to a gentleman last night, and he takes a product that was a broad spectrum, and it was 500 milligrams of CBD, and he had me look at his product, and I said, are you getting results with it? He said, no, I've been taking it for a couple months and I haven't seen any changes. You know, chronic pain.
It should be really quicker than that, a lot quicker than that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's only 500 milligrams. So is the problem because it's a broad spectrum versus a full spectrum, or is the problem that it's just too weak?
Right. You don't know because, as we've discussed before, everybody's body and needs are different. Their conditions are different. And so you just have to play around with this product to see what's going to work for the condition or the reason that you're taking it.
That's right. That's right. And we're all different. So, like we talked about on the first call that you and I did on CBD, we talked about half-life, right? Do you remember talking about that? So half-life, so I don't feel like I'm throwing you under the bus. Half-life is how long it takes for half of the ingredient to actually be metabolized out of your body. And so some people have a half-life that they metabolize CBD so quickly that they can metabolize a half-life like in 12 hours.
Okay. And
other people, they may have a half-life of 33 hours. It's almost 3 times as long.
So that would depend on the needs of their body. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that would depend on their metabolism. Maybe they have a liver that metabolizes it really quickly.
Okay.
Right. And so they're going to need to take it more often, not necessarily a bigger dose, but they're going to need to take it more often than somebody who metabolizes really slowly.
Right.
So I hear people talking about that. Well, how much do I need? How much? There really is no set amount because it's not a drug. It's a natural product. So we kind of, in a way, you almost have to test drive it, right?
Right.
And so you remember on the first call, we talked about how to determine what the proper dose is for you. Do you remember that?
Well, we talked about what the bottle recommends.
Yeah.
And then we talked about, if you're getting the effect you want, then lower the dose a little bit, see how much lower you can go so that you can get the same effect with less product. And if you're not getting an effect, then you would raise the dose a little bit.
Yeah.
And just walk your way up or walk your way down.
But like when you take a look at, like, let's say the thermostat in your house, you don't turn it up to 75 and go, oh, it's too hot, turn it down to 65. Oh, it's too cold, turn it back up to, you don't do that, right? Because what you want to do is you want to turn it a little bit. So if you're taking 1 milliliter, which is the recommended starting dosage, and you find that it's working consistently every day, and let's say you go 2 weeks and you've had 14 great days, it's worked every single day. So what I've read is then what you should do is turn it back a notch, turn it back, take 25% less.
Okay.
And if you're taking 25% less and you find that you're still getting the great results every day for 2 weeks, right? And it's working good every day, then you could turn it back again by 25%.
Okay.
And if you're still getting great results, you can turn it back. But if you're getting to where it's not getting the great results, turn it back up. Or if you're taking the 1 milliliter and you seem to have, let's say, 7 out of 12 hours are doing great, then you could turn it up by 25%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how you have to do it, because there is no set amount. You can't jump on the scale and, oh, you're 250 pounds, here's how much you need.
Right. And that may fluctuate too, because they actually have something called endocannabinoid deficiency, that we're not getting cannabinoids. And so once you start providing this to your body, I would imagine it's going to make some changes in the body so that at some point you're going to need a different amount. You may go through more less stress. You may, suddenly be facing a divorce, or you got fired from your job and you're in more stress, and so you may dial it up a little.
Or maybe that divorce and that losing that job, maybe you'll have less stress.
Maybe.
Sometimes it works good. But, so what we're saying is that everybody's different, right?
Yes.
Are there any medications? I'm just having this thought. I've never looked it up. Are there any medications that can block the endocannabinoid system in your body that you know?
I would imagine that there might be, but I haven't done that research, so I don't know.
That'd be interesting to find out if there's any drugs or maybe even natural things that would block that system, you know, and like we're talking about receptors. So think of the receptors like being the spots where the cannabinoids attach if they're being blocked by something else.
Could be.
Yeah.
So if you're on a certain medication that does that, then you'd either have to adjust your medications if that was a possibility for you.
Right.
And you wanted to participate in, you know, keeping your homeostasis balanced, then you would have to make some adjustments. That's all.
Yeah. Is there any, you know, I know you've researched this more than I have. Is there any times of the day that are better to take CBD?
I don't know. I just practice taking it in the morning and the evening.
So you take it twice a day?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you recommend most people do, twice a day?
I'm not a doctor. I can't make recommendations.
Well, I mean, you're not prescribed, but I'm just saying, like if somebody said, what's the best way to do it? Would they be better off taking a 0.5 milliliter in the morning and a 0.5 milliliter at night, or doing a full, you know, just 1 milliliter in the morning? Or
well, I think it's, you know, it could be similar to the age pill that you want to keep a balance in the body at all times.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. And, you know, as you're looking at the cannabinoids that are out there on the market, I mean, didn't Dr. Oz do a program on it where he found that just so many of them don't have anything?
I think it was reported 80, well, I don't know about anything, but 80% I heard was not, what was on the label was not what you got in the bottle. And then they did mention that in some cases it was like nothing more than like vegetable oil in the bottle.
So somebody was taking vegetable oil and just dumping it into little bottles and putting a label on saying it was
well, yeah, you know, you go to a street fair or farm market and somebody's sitting there with you can buy little canisters, you know, you label it up and sell it off, you know, could be Crisco. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
But, you know, that's the difference between our product and a lot of products that you might find out there. You might go, oh, you know, I went down to the farmer's market and bought it for $20. Do you know what you got? You know,
right?
And even other companies, you know, if they've got a rate that 80% don't have in the bottle what is on their label, that's pretty. And
those are from legit companies. That's not Uncle Bob selling it at the Uncle Bob farmer market.
Right.
Huh. Okay. And what do you think's going to happen? Again, you know, this is just your opinion. You know, isn't the federal government going to make some decision like in May on CBD?
Yeah, I heard that you could actually, I think there's a number or something you can call in and voice your opinion about whether you're in agreement with it.
Yeah.
And if you're not in agreement with it, don't call in.
Yeah, because I heard that. Yeah, don't call in. I heard that the version that's being sold as a drug, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's being sold as a pharmaceutical drug, a pharmaceutical grade. Well, and I shouldn't even say that because there is no such thing as pharmaceutical grade. We did learn that. But a pharmaceutical brand of CBD, that one actually comes from marijuana. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that one comes from marijuana, and ours comes from hemp. So my thought that I've kind of had, and in discussion with this with other people who are kind of, you know, doctors and scientists, they agree that chances are what'll happen is that the ones that are made from marijuana will actually become drugs. It'll be regulated by the FDA.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that come from hemp will continue. They'll have some regulations like the 0.3% THC, things like that. But we have something called a certificate of analysis. Would you want to, just trying to end the call, talk a little bit about what does that mean? Not just what does it mean, when you read it, but what does it mean for the product and the quality and things like that? Could you explain that to people?
Well, it means that our company went out and got independent labs to test their product. It wasn't done in their own lab. And then we have those reports to prove that what's in the bottle is actually in the bottle.
Right. Right. So for you as a consumer, you know that if you buy the product today and you buy another one in a month, it's going to be the same product.
Right. And I like too that Sizzle has actually sent their scientists out to the organic farm where the hemp is grown and tested the soil. I mean, they've covered everything. They have a contract with an organic farmer to provide a specific plant grown in specific fields. I mean, they've gone to length to make sure this product is meeting the Sizzle Safe standard that we have.
Yeah, I think that's important. Well, I'm just gonna say that I think that when I've compared it to all those other products that I've personally tried myself, I find that it works better. And then when I see the certificate of analysis, I feel good. I feel safe. I feel comfortable that I'm using a product that is going to be consistent. That I can say, hey, Andrea, try this. And I know I'm not going to give you something that's going to drug you up and cause problems for you. I can give it to somebody and I can say, here's what CBD does. Here's how much CBD is in our product, and that. So I think that's important. I feel really comfortable about what we have. So Andrea, I'm gonna hand the call over to you and let you close out the call. Thanks everyone for watching today. Let people know every Tuesday we do this call, noon Eastern, and our goal is to bring information to you. Back to you, Andrea.
Right. That's what we do. Doc gets on here every Tuesday at noon Eastern and brings us health information that we can use to optimize our health, biohack our bodies. And we work with a company that provides very effective and, in my opinion, the best products in the world, because the person behind the company is a biochemist. You don't always get that with companies. And he goes out and just researches things like crazy and then comes up with these wonderful formulations. And I like that. It's not just, he comes up with a supplement, but he comes up with a formulation that works synergistically so that you're getting the best possible effect.
Right.
Yeah. And Doc's over there dipping into his CBD oil. You got to, if it's on the live, they see you, but if it's on the recorded version, you have to talk while you take it for them to see what you're doing. We learned that last week.
All right.
But anyway, if you're seeing this out there somewhere in virtual land and a friend shared it with you, please get back with that friend and, get some more information about this product or any of the other products that Sizzle has. We have an amazing line. I mean, probably state of the art, best in the world, a line of anti-aging products. So if you're into extending your health span, staying healthy longer, you should get back with your friend or the person who invited you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.